So, in today's cheeky markets, just as usual, I want to do a recap of what has happened with the Bitcoin price over the last couple weeks. We have seen that Bitcoin has actually gone high and it's very resilient right now. I want to talk about this, but also I would like to discuss some of the potential resistance that we might find up ahead. And the reason is because if we combine this and other indicators like bearish divergences, we might actually be going through a correction. In this video, I also want to talk about coin market cap and Bitcoin dominance, and the reason is because we have seen Bitcoin dominance actually going up while other altcoins have been going down in Bitcoin terms and bleeding very dramatically. Finally, I want to talk about all the fundamentals, all the bullish fundamentals that have happened over the past couple weeks. So if you're curious about it, just chill and keep watching. Hello everyone, how's it going? Welcome back to my channel, and this is your host, the Cheeky Entrepreneur. So as you know, in this Cheeky Markets video, what I want to do is basically a recap of what has happening with the price action during the past couple weeks, and also give some head-ups of the most important news that happened during that time frame as well. So if you remember from my last video, I actually was talking about this level, and I actually mentioned this ascending channel that we are currently in, and I mentioned how I did compute it. It's very simple. Basically, you grab the previous lows, you create a line of this kind, then you can copy paste the line and you can put it someplace that makes sense. For instance, I said that in this high, it actually made total sense to put it in there just to compute what could potentially happen in the future. And what we see is that not only did that happen, this happened in here, but we continuously are using that line as a resistance right now, and this is something very interesting, and this is one of the reasons why I use these channels, because a lot of people tend to see them, a lot of people tend to trade in this way, and I think this helps us to see, or more or less foresee, where some resistance is actually gonna be. So in my last video, I also talked about some of the resistances that if we were to have a correction, we would actually meet. And for instance, it was first of all this 20 EMA in here, and I said that it was a very it was gonna be a very strong resistance, because if we were actually gonna break down, there could be a potential move to the downside. Now we have found some support in there, and we have actually bounced up in a very bullish manner. Now additionally to that resistance, I mentioned that the true key players here could be the 50 daily EMA and the 200 daily EMA, and the reason is because we are seeing right now this cross, and that cross could have a lot of significance. If we go to the past around here, we see that that cross usually never happens, and once it happens, it could lead to a long-term trend. For instance, we saw it first happening around here when the trend was actually reversing, and we were having a lot of volatility back then. Therefore the price actually went like crazy, going up above. But if we actually see, we could not really make this cross for more days than it appeared over here. So let's just disregard this and say there was only one cross in reality. But I mean, the point given is that the price continues to trend, continues to go in that direction. So this is very bullish. And something that I would expect is a retest of these levels. I think that would be something very healthy for the price. I know in a lot of my videos I sound very bearish, but in reality I'm not bearish, not at all. If I want the prices to actually go down, it's only to buy more. But this is according to my strategy, so everyone should develop their own strategy. But for me, I have a main portfolio with Bitcoin and with other altcoins. So that main portfolio, whenever I trade to the downside, is in reality protected, because if the price goes down, I'm not only hedging against that, but I'm also receiving extra Bitcoin. So if the prices move back up after that, then I'm basically earning double, right? But in the other side, for instance, if here I I'm increasing I'm leveraging my position because I've already have a portfolio that I bought waiting for it to go to the upside, but I continue longing with leverage, then I'm just putting more risk to my portfolio. I'm not really de-risking it. So if it goes, of course, if it goes up, I would receive twice. I would receive for the longs, and I also would receive from the main portfolio. But the problem is that if we actually correct, then it's a double hit, because not only I'm gonna be affected from my main portfolio, which is going down, but I'm also gonna be affected with the extra leverage that I'm taking with the long. So that's why when I try to long, I try to be more certain. Now here, let's go back to the topic. It's all this correction that I've been pointing out that might or might not happen. I mean, for me, and I've said it before, it would be pretty normal if the price continues going up, mid resistance, go back down maybe to this 5k level again, 4.8, which is the level that I've been pointing out, and I think that would just be healthy. And one of the reasons is that for me, this movement to the upside has not really established a higher low. The only higher low that we have seen is around here, and you might say, well, the price has gone up. You could consider this as a high, this as a higher low, this as a new higher high, and this as a new higher low, and this as a new higher high. But I don't know, at least for me, in my opinion, this doesn't seem like it's really a higher high from this level, if you know what I mean. What it feels more for me, at least in my opinion, is that this, I would consider it like a leg to the upside, and not really a new high, or maybe a new high overall. And that's one of the reasons that I'm waiting to see where are we actually gonna go when this corrects. Because for instance, if the price goes lower than 5.k and finds some support around, let's say 4.8 or 4.9 or whichever level it is, then we know that there's gonna be support in there, and we can actually go up, and we have established a new higher low, which of course we are gonna be using it in the future to assess whether that trend is actually gonna reverse or what it's gonna do thereafter. Well, in any case, guys, I don't want this video to be too long, but all these recaps, I want to make it weekly recaps, but right now it's gonna have to be every 2 weeks, and they're very packed with information. Now, one of the reasons again that I'm thinking that we're gonna have a correction, it's nothing new. A lot of people I see that a lot of people are actually calling it as well, is this bearish divergence. Of course, we have the RSI going down, and we have the price still going up, and in the daily time frame, that could have some very nasty repercussions. I'm not saying that this is just gonna collapse and we're gonna see a new, like again, the price going very low, but I think this is pointing out that we could be exhausted at this point. And this brings me to the last topic that I want to talk in this technical analysis, which is basically these resistance boxes. So we've talked about these very strong resistance, which we actually found some resistance here and actually traded back down to the lower part of that box, and now it seems that we are actually breaking it. So I think this could be the last resistance. But again, if we go back to the past, and this is why I highlighted this red box around here, is because we have seen that there's let's say a price difference between the 5.8k level and the 6k level. So for me, these are very important resistances, and even though I would like to see Bitcoin just go through that 6k level and just fly above that, I think it's gonna be very hard, because if this was such a powerful support back then, we see once, twice, 3 times, and then all the price hovering above that. If we saw that kind of support back then, we can see the same kind of resistance now that we are below that level. So these are just some key levels that I'm taking into consideration. Even if we correct and go back down, we're still on an uptrend, and for me that's very bullish, and that's something that I'm very looking forward to. So well, in any case, guys, just before jumping into the news section, which I really want to talk about, I think all this adoption is just setting up perfectly. I want to talk about the coin market cap, and I want to talk about the Bitcoin dominance. And we have seen in the past days that it has gone up. It was around 50% where all these altcoins were actually blooming. If you remember, though, in some videos I talked about Icon, I talked about Dash, how they were actually blowing to the upside, and pretty much all the altcoins were benefiting from this decrease in Bitcoin dominance. But right now we're actually seeing the opposite. We're actually seeing that the Bitcoin dominance is gaining momentum. It's right now at 55%, and that has huge repercussions in the overall cryptocurrency market. I just want to go through some of the altcoins that we have seen in this channel, just to measure like the impact that has had. So we have Icon in here. It has gone to the downside for around 42%, 40%, let's say. We have Dash here from the last high. It has actually gone back down around 30%. Let's go. Even some altcoins, just like Neo, are just going through new all-time lows. Let's see, again 40% to the downside. Ethereum, if I remember, it's around 30% as well. Yes, I mean, and if we talk about some of the big big ones, or the ones that had a lot of hype, we have Tron here. It's around 50%, if I remember, 52, 53%. Again, XRP, it was the same, around 50 something percent. And again, this is why I'm a bit skeptical, not for going up, but what I'm just trying to prepare for a correction and grab the best out of a correction. If that happens, I'm just gonna buy in. Here in the daily time frame in XRP, I talked about way before, where these bearish divergences in the daily chart were forming. The same was in here in the daily chart. Tron was actually forming more and more bearish divergences, and then look what's going on. It finally went back down, and that's something that could happen with Bitcoin. Again, I'm not saying that it's just gonna plummet back down. I don't think that's the case, but a healthy correction would be very appreciated, would open the opportunities to actually buy more, to actually open new longs to the upside, and to take just the swings. Again, if you're trading, it's all about taking the swings to the upside, taking the swings to the downside, and just going where the market is going. Well guys, now I want to jump into the news section, because there's so many news, there's so many fundamentals, there's so much hype, and I really want to talk about it. So let's just head to the first one. Fundstrat Tom Lee predicts new all-time highs for crypto by 2020. And it's not the first time that we hear from Tom Lee. It's not the first time that we hear from these very bullish expectations. And let's just read some of what he has to say. I think you're seeing signs that fundamentals are improving, technicals are improving, and now there's real activity by essentially crypto holders. So I think 2.5 standard deviation move for Bitcoin would take it to 14,000. I'm not saying that's where it's going to go, but that's the magnitude of move that could be a catch-up. And this in reality is not unexpected news, and one of the reasons is because that we know that in 2020 the halving basically is gonna happen with Bitcoin. So very bullish comments from Tom Lee, and just from the same Fundstrat here, buy Bitcoin before next bull run in H2 2019. Fundstrat analyst advises, and again very bullish sentiment from this firm. And it says Bitcoin price may pull back soon, but investors should leverage it to buy more. And this is basically what I've been saying in my past videos. It's not that I'm really bearish, it's that I want it to go down so that I can basically buy more, I can profit more, I can just redistribute it. But let's just read what it says. While it's premature to conclude Bitcoin will not retest support near 4,300 in this case, we would encourage traders and investors to remain focused on the bullish longer-term technical profile developing. And this is just true. This is what I've been saying. In the long term, of course, if you're not buying Bitcoin right now, you could miss a huge opportunity. For me, anything and everything below 6k, it's actually cheap. I think we're gonna head to all-time highs. I don't know when. I don't think anyone can really tell, but surely with the happening coming just basically next year, with so many fundamentals that are happening, it's just only about time for this to happen. Well, in any case, guys, I just want to rapid fire over some of this news, and probably I should call this the adoption section. So I'm just gonna quickly go through them and just tell you my opinions. Let's just read the headlines. Wall Street Journal: Facebook 6 reported 1 billion for Facebook coin amid talks with Visa and MasterCard. We have talked about Facebook before. Social media giant Facebook is seeking investments worth 1 billion for its rumored cryptocurrency stablecoin. Let's jump through the next title. Nike files trademark application in the US for crypto kicks. Nike has filed a trademark application for the crypto kicks, a document filed with the US Patent and Trademark Office on April 19. Vitalik Buterin tweets ETH development proposals after Elon Musk's Ethereum tweetbait. Technology entrepreneur and Tesla CEO Elon Musk has sparked a conversation with Ether co-founder Vitalik Buterin with his laconic one-word tweet Ethereum on April 29. And finally, top subscribed YouTuber PewDiePie partners with blockchain live streaming platform. PewDiePie, the personality behind the most subscribed channel on YouTube, will start streaming on blockchain video platform DLive as of April 14. The firm announced in a press release on April 9. And basically what I want just to say about all this news is that just look at the names that are being associated with crypto. Just look at the companies. We have Facebook, we have Telegram, we have even Amazon out there with blockchain. We have Nike, we have Twitter. Now we have a big personality like Elon Musk just talking about this. So this is basically the perfect storm, the perfect bullish storm, because everyone is starting to talk about this again. Well, in any case, guys, I hope that you enjoyed the video, and if you did, and only if you did, mind subscribing and also like the video. If you want to know more about my content outside YouTube and in other social media, definitely check the links down in that description. In any case, guys, just as usual, I would like to remind you all, stay smart, stay bold, but most important of all, stay cheeky. Take care, guys.